Commander Zaxthar's 3 blinked in rapid succession as the tactical display updated with another impossible statistic. His chitinous exoskeleton clicked nervously, a habit he'd developed over 40 cycles of military service across 17 conquered worlds. None of those victories had prepared him for this. "Repeat that," he commanded, his translator struggling to maintain the authoritative tone his species was known for throughout the galactic concordance. The intelligence officer, a young Velcrin with barely developed horn ridges, swallowed hard. "Sir, we've lost another battalion. The humans, they're not fighting like any species we've encountered. They're using the planet itself as a weapon." Zaxthar turned to face the holographic projection of Earth hanging in the center of the command deck. The blue-green marble looked deceptively peaceful from orbit, much like the other 73 worlds the Concordance had absorbed into its empire over the past millennium. But 3 months into the invasion, his forces had been reduced by 60%, and they hadn't even established a permanent foothold on a single continent. "How?" he asked, though he dreaded the answer. The intelligence officer manipulated the display, zooming into a jungle region the humans called the Amazon. "This region, sir. We sent 3,000 troops to secure it. Within 2 days, we'd lost contact with 70% of them. Not to enemy fire, to the environment itself." Zaxthar watched the recorded footage. His soldiers, equipped with armor that could withstand plasma fire, being overwhelmed by creatures the size of his claw. Insects, the humans called them. Ants that could strip flesh in minutes. Spiders whose venom caused excruciating paralysis. Plants that caused severe allergic reactions through mere contact. And that was before the larger predators arrived. Jaguars that moved like shadows. Anacondas that could crush their power armor with calculated precision. "The humans don't even defend these areas actively," the officer continued. "They simply wait. They've lived with these threats their entire evolutionary history. What kills us is just Tuesday for them." Another commander, Valkyra of the Ethon Collective, slithered forward. Her serpentine form had evolved on a world with 0.7 standard gravity and a climate that never varied more than 10 degrees. "It's not just the fauna," she hissed. "We established a forward base in their northern territories. The temperature dropped to -40 degrees. -40! Water literally fell from the sky in crystalline form and buried our equipment. Our soldiers' metabolisms began shutting down. When we tried to retreat, the humans emerged from nowhere, dressed in primitive fabric, moving through the frozen hellscape like it was a pleasant garden." Zaxthar felt his confidence crumbling. The Concordance had classified Earth as a Class 15 Deathworld, the highest possible rating. When the Galactic Council had first discovered it, there had been debate about whether intelligent life could even evolve on such a hostile planet. The temperature swings alone would be lethal to 80% of known species. The atmospheric oxygen content was dangerously high. The gravity was crushing. The tectonic activity made the surface constantly unstable. And the native life forms had evolved into an arms race of predation and survival that was unprecedented in the known galaxy. Yet humans thrived here. More than thrived, they'd conquered it. "Show me the Australian continent," Zaxthar ordered, his voice hollow. The display shifted. Australia had been designated as a soft target for invasion. Sparse population, open terrain, perfect for establishing a beachhead. The reality had been a nightmare. "Everything there tries to kill you," the intelligence officer said, his voice shaking. "We've documented over 300 species with venom potent enough to kill our soldiers. Spiders, snakes, jellyfish, even a mammal called a platypus. There are birds that attack with their claws. The very trees have toxins. We lost an entire company to something called a box jellyfish in the water. Translucent, nearly invisible, and absolutely lethal." "And the humans?" Zaxthar asked. "They swim in those waters recreationally, sir, for fun. They have children's programs teaching them which creatures to avoid. The rest they just live with." A heavy silence fell over the command deck. Zaxthar thought about his own homeworld, carefully climate-controlled with predators that had been hunted to extinction millennia ago, where the greatest natural threat was occasional rain. He thought about the Concordance's greatest military victories, fought against species who had evolved in similarly comfortable environments. Humans were different. They were apex predators from a world that had spent 4 billion years trying to kill everything on its surface. They'd evolved to endure temperature extremes that would kill most concordant species within hours. Their immune systems fought invisible wars against pathogens that had evolved alongside them in a biological arms race. Their psychology had been shaped by scarcity, competition, and constant environmental pressure. The display shifted again, showing footage from a recent engagement. Human soldiers moving through terrain that Zaxthar's troops found barely traversable. They weren't stronger or faster than Concordance forces. In fact, they were physically inferior to most military species. But they were relentless. They operated in conditions that would incapacitate his soldiers. They used their planet's hostility as camouflage, as defense, as offense. One clip showed a human medic treating a wounded comrade while casually brushing away a spider that would have sent a Concordant soldier into toxic shock. Another showed human engineers constructing fortifications during a hurricane that had forced his forces to abandon 3 orbital drop sites. They're not just adapted to their world, Valkyra observed quietly. They're part of it. They move through it like water through water. Every disadvantage we face, they turn into an advantage. Zaxthar stared at the planet below. For the first time in his military career, he felt genuine fear. The Concordants had made a catastrophic miscalculation. They'd seen Earth's classification and assumed it meant the humans would be weakened by their environment, easy to defeat once removed from their home advantage. But Earth hadn't weakened humanity. It had forged them into something terrifying. "Prepare the evacuation order," Zaxthar said finally, his voice barely above a whisper. "We're withdrawing all forces from the Sol system." "Sir?" the intelligence officer asked, stunned. The Concordance has never tried to invade a Class 15 Deathworld," Zaxthar interrupted. "We asked ourselves if we could conquer humanity. We should have asked why any species that survived on that planet would ever need to be conquered." He paused, watching another battalion marker disappear from the tactical display. "They're not trapped on Earth with us. We're trapped on Earth with them." The retreat order went out within the hour. As Concordant ships began their withdrawal, human resistance fighters watched from below, standing in swamps teeming with alligators, in deserts that could bake exposed skin in hours, in frozen tundras that preserved corpses for centuries. One human soldier, standing in an Australian scrubland as a Concordance dropship burned in the distance, lit a cigarette and smiled. "Yeah," he muttered to himself. "Welcome to Earth, mate."